June 5th will now begin at 12:30. We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I want to say welcome to everyone. It's great to have a full room. I just wanted to say a special meeting is unusual, but we anticipated from the outset of the parking program that we may want to make use of it. And that's why we made the paid parking in a resolution instead of an ordinance. The parking subcommittee has been meeting regularly. They met on Monday and determined some changes to make. Normally, we would do that at our Monday meeting, but the parking committee and the commissioners recommended to make the changes sooner. That requires a special meeting. The mayor can call a special meeting, but she's unable to attend because of work. So then it requires two commissioners to call the meeting, and that's why we are here now. We will start with the approval of the agenda.
I
What
move
is the
to,
pleasure of the commission?
sorry,
Go
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support. Do we call the roll? Okay, call the roll.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Ulrey,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
We are now on number 3, public comment for items on the consent agenda or not on the agenda. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. Oh, yeah, no consent agenda. Yes.
My name is Kay Wayne and I live on Lane Drive here at St. Joe. And I have 2 solutions.
Oh, wait, is this about parking?
Yes.
Oh. Oh, we'll get into the parking. You'll have a chance. You'll have a chance.
I have solutions.
We have solutions too. We have some great solutions too, so you can hear them. We're on number 4, so we're going to hear the park. If you can be quiet, we can hear the parking subgroup update.
Thank you. I'll just give a quick update on behalf of the parking subgroup. As folks who have been following along, which is a pretty big group, knows the parking subgroup has been meeting regularly, reviewing the implementation of the downtown parking program. The group has been reviewing data and listening very closely to feedback, some positive, some negative, from residents, downtown employees, and downtown business owners. They are evaluating what they hear, and they are comparing what they're hearing to the and the impact that they are hearing about to the program's goals. As a reminder, there are 2 key goals to this program. The first is to improve access to downtown parking, making it easier for visitors to find parking near their destination without having the frustration that many of you likely remember circling the block repeatedly looking for parking. And the other is to benefit downtown businesses. By creating capacity and turnover, the goal is to create more opportunity for foot traffic into local businesses. Revenue associated with the program is a nice to have and will be largely reinvested in the downtown. We need investment in our downtown, and these investments will benefit city residents as well as our businesses and our visitors. In their discussion this week, the parking subgroup talked about the parking subgroup talked about the success that they've seen in moving all-day parkers to the east side of Main Street. With 200 to 450 employees working downtown at any given time, it's a lot of vehicles, and it frees up meaningful parking west of Main Street. Residents and visitors have shared their appreciation for this shift and the capacity that it's created. And the subgroup is actively monitoring the lots east of Main Street to ensure that there is sufficient parking, free parking for all visitors as well. In addition, I won't get into it too much right now. The subgroup aligned this week on two key recommendations, and that's part of what we are here to discuss today. Reducing the hours of the downtown parking program based on the data that's been gathered to date, as well as providing free surface lot parking to city residents. Michael Fernandez and Brooke Thomas are both on the parking subgroup. Michael, is there anything that you want to add from the meeting?
I would. Having just rotated into the parking subgroup and having our first meeting, after I joined, last week, it's important to just draw attention to there is a North Star to this project. The entire reason we are where we are today is because we are looking for ways to, in a hyper-fixated way, target the time that we are the most congested and alleviate that congestion in an effort to drive more vibrancy to our downtown. What we will be looking at today are going to be, I mentioned at the last commission meeting when we made the decision to both do a little rotation to the parking subgroup, and also the next part of that is expanding the subgroup. That is going to be an ongoing conversation because we have pivoted from the ideation stage and the planning stage to this implementation stage. And as we continue to implement this plan, the feedback and adjustments, the parking subgroup will be more important now than it ever was before in making sure that we are on track and making the proper adjustments. What we will be looking at a little bit more closely, item by item, are just those are those first fruits of that process of reviewing how it's working, incorporating the feedback that we are receiving. So I look forward to any discussion and actions that we might take throughout this meeting today, which are the results of the parking subgroup's work and really the result of the feedback that has come from so many of you. Both myself and other members of the parking subgroup have been out, the emails, the comments, the direct calls, all of the coffees, all of the going and visiting to, your business places. I know I'm not the only person doing those things. I see a lot of, people in this room that we've all talked to many times. So putting that feedback to work, we're going to talk some more about some specific recommendations that we can make today, and looking forward to the discussion here this afternoon.
Okay, so that was just an update. So we are going to move on to the next agenda item, which is an action. So Emily will talk to us about the City of St. Joseph resident parking.
Thank you. So again, the parking subgroup met. They have been reviewing data and they have aligned on recommending that all City of St. Joseph residents have access to free parking in the city-owned parking lots west of Main Street. By making this change, residents will have access to over 400 free off-street parking spaces on the west side of downtown, in addition, of course, to all of the free spaces on the east side. On-street parking west of Main Street, which is the highest demand parking, will remain paid parking for all users, including residents. I have included in the packet here some data that backs up. Oh, nope. That's a different agenda item. Never mind. So sorry. Put this together real quick. That is the whole recommendation from the parking subgroup. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'm thrilled that this is coming up, and I want to thank the parking subgroup for pivoting quickly on this. When paid parking first came up when I was first elected, I immediately had a resident concern. I'm glad that we adopted a resolution wise so we can effectively make this change. When I look at the City of St. Joseph residents, I want them to be able to freely access the amenities that their taxes pay for. In my view, downtown parking is one of those amenities. 80% of downtown parking revenues will be reinvested into the DDA, but any other money is still going to come from the City of St. Joseph taxpayers. And so because of that, I'm fully in favor of this residential parking. And in full transparency, I'm a renter in St. Joe. I don't pay the property taxes that you do. My rent definitely contributes to my landowner's property taxes, but I hear you and I understand that, and I just want to let you know that I have listened in that capacity.
Any other comments?
I move to direct the city manager in collaboration with the parking subgroup to develop and administer guidelines, applications, and processes to provide free off-street/lot parking to all City of St. Joseph residents effective immediately.
Support.
Any comment from the public? Oh, yes, you can come up to the podium, state your name and your address, please. And 3 minutes. I don't know how many, 3 minute thing.
Jessica Chabot, 403 State Street, Unit 4. And we're condo owners. I was actually boasting well. I thought, okay. Jessica Chabot, 403 State Street, Unit 4, and also president of the Great Lakes Condo Association. And I'm here because I understand this whole parking is a nightmare for everybody on their sides, but I don't feel as though as condo represented have been represented in this process. I feel like you're here voting now, but yet you haven't fully heard our needs. And for instance, right now, I don't have my purse, okay? I left it in the condo, okay? I'm parked all the way down there. Now that's 4 blocks away. And then 4 blocks back to get my purse. And then 4 blocks, it's because of the paid parking and you spreading everything out, you are putting people who are here for an hour or two in the day lots that we have to have. We can't move our cars every 2 hours because we live here. There has to be some type of exception. We don't have any other parking. And now all of a sudden we're sharing all of these lots with the whole town and the employees. Now I understand that. I'm not saying I don't want anyone to have access to those lots. But it's not fair for us to wait for all the waiters and waitresses to get off work to go move our car again and put it somewhere we can leave overnight. And it's not fair not to have good access to be able to go in, take your groceries in, and pull them back out. I'm not going to carry my groceries 4 blocks. If I've got lots of stuff to do, I'm going to end up pulling in the alley, turning on my flashers, and then what's going to happen? People can't get their deliveries done. They can't pick up the garbage, and city plumbing can't get through. And I don't understand why we have not, our specific unique needs have not been considered whatsoever in this process. And I think it's well-intentioned with everyone, but I don't think anyone's actually sat down and heard exactly what it's like to actually not have parking. And I think that since the city approved those condos without parking, that there's an obligation to uphold that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Megan Coddington Heath. I'm up here with my son, Ray Coddington Heath. We live at 621 State Street, which puts us on the corner of Pearl and State. And I will tell you that I've been vacationing here for 11 years and we just took over the property a year ago and I've never seen our street. Our kids, for once in their life, have friends a corner or across the street from them. And I've watched them almost get hit multiple times because the cars are parking in the yellow areas. They're parking everywhere. I'm here. I wish I could have been here sooner because nobody's thought about the fact that we want our kids to play outside. We want them to have fun. We want kids probably in the city living in single family residences, but I'm afraid to send my son outside, and my other son and my daughter are here too. They're upset too because we just 2 nights ago almost watched their neighbor get hit by 3 cars from out of town who didn't know where they're going. And then on top of it, like we only have 1 parking spot on our side of our house. It continually gets blocked in now. People park in front of it. And then our garbage isn't getting picked up because we live on a corner. So the cars park in front of our garbage cans and the garbage company will not pick up our garbage. So these are all things I wish I could have brought sooner, but I didn't know they would be an issue because I've been vacationing here. I've been here when it's super busy and I haven't had worries about my kids being safe, but I do now. I watched a really serious accident almost happen. And my son's been very upset about this. So he's here with me. I don't know if you want to say anything. No, but I said, if you want to talk to if you want to complain or be upset or are having problems with something in your city, you need to go talk to your government. So that's why we're here today. And I really hope you can consider the fact that there are kids living on these streets and you've just pushed all that free parking that nobody's using because I buy it and nobody's there. You've pushed them all up on our street. And now my kids are in danger. My garbage is not getting picked up and I can't park in my yard or park in my driveway. Thank you.
Thank you. Keep us updated as the residents move out.
Well, my name is Kay Wang and I live at 1221 Lane. And I moved back here to St. Joe 10 years ago and I love our town. I love our lake. And so I'm always a person that goes, when we have issues, I understand this parking issue, let's think of solutions. So I thought of two solutions. One is if our beach passes that we have that are so nice and I love them, if we could also, those could work downtown. Like if we have a 20-minute, 30-minute errand we want to run and the 30-minute parking spot is full, we could use that pass would still work. When the person comes by, it would register that, yes, they're a legal resident and they can park here. And also abide by the 2 and 3 hour commitments that are required of everyone. I think that's a very fair thing. And then the other thing I thought of is, we have all these wonderful township people that are just so close to us. What if we do like many of us buy passes to Jean Clark Park in the summer. We pay $25, $30 to be able to use the Benton Harbor parking lots. What if we did that, offered that up, and that would also generate another stream of revenue into our community for the people that just want to come downtown and have dinner for 2 hours. So those are my two solutions. Paid parking or parking pass that can be purchased for out-of-town residents or people, and then those of us in town, our beach pass will work. Thank you.
Thank you. Turn this over. That's all I did.
I don't like public speaking, so, but I know some of you up at the front, and I've talked to you before, but I'm here today for my agency, Disability Network, Southwest Michigan, and for myself as a resident of Stevensville, but I have lived and born in St. Joe, raised here.
Can you tell us your name? I'm sorry.
Cindy Gray.
Oh, you're Cindy Gray. Hi, Cindy.
Hi. Yes, hi. We've been getting calls, and personally myself, I experienced, because I have a daughter with disabilities, I can't go downtown to the paid parking. The accessible spots, we've talked about that. They need some improvement in the town too, but people that have lived here and come here their whole lives from your surrounding little villages and areas, so we're going to be penalized for that now. So it's two things. It's that people are, like, why now? And the parking for seniors or people with disabilities, wheelchairs, walkers, to go and navigate the pay stations and everything else is just a lot of unnecessary that they've been talking about. And we've been getting a lot of calls. I just wanted you to know that.
Well, thank you, Cindy. We
Thank
were going to
you.
call you. That's why I know your name.
Good afternoon. I'm Ken Kosminski at 412 State Street, the Buck Burgers and Brew in St. Joe, and formerly State Street Meats. I've got a couple of things that I want to share, but I'm primarily sharing this based on 28 represented business owners within the downtown district. So I completed a survey online that was anonymous, and of the 23 respondents that we had 2 that were on the east side and the rest are on the west side of Main Street. Since one of the questions was, since the introduction of the paid parking plan, have you noticed a change in customer traffic? Of the 23 responses, 91.3% said yes. So we're seeing a significant and noticed reduction in traffic inside of our businesses, especially during the week, Monday through Thursday. One of the questions was, do you believe that the city implemented this plan fairly with all business interests in mind citywide? 23 responses, 100% said no. Significant, very significant. Have you experienced any? 100% of those businesses, a lot of the businesses are represented here, said no, it's not been implemented fairly across the city. Have you experienced any financial challenges due to the new parking plan? Of the respondents, 82.6% said yes, significant revenue declines because of the changes outside of things like weather. And I think it's important to recognize when we have bad weather, it actually helps us, our retailers and our businesses downtown. People are not at the beach. They're not at their boats. They're not working in their yards. They're not out at their second homes. They're actually looking for something to occupy their time and for them to stay busy. I know Jim Kramer's going to talk, so I'm not going to steal the mic any longer, but we did make recommendations to the city in 2 separate letters. And then from the survey results that we had, we also made 6 recommendations that Jim will cover in terms of what we were asking for in the changes in the system. They are all very reasonable and they're all very doable. Nothing on this list is difficult at all. So I appreciate your time and we look forward to hearing what your response will be going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim Kramer from Shoes and Tim's too, and I am a senior citizen. I'm turned 70 years old this year. And one of the recommendations that we did have was to give senior citizen passes for free, and that would be township-wide or county-wide to be able to come and park anywhere in the city. And that would be another thing I was thinking. But believe it or not, we get very confused. I still don't have the app. I barely know what an app is, you know, and so with that, let me just read these with my bad eyes. Free paid parking for Berrien County residents 65 or older. I just said that one. Only paid parking from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we look at that largely, again, as a senior thing. A lot of the seniors come and eat at 4:30 at our restaurant anyways. They shop earlier. We do. We're not out till 9 o'clock that late, you know. Add more 30-minute spots for retailers. City of St. Joseph residents get a free parking pass is what you're talking about. If they're a taxpayer, maybe 2 per residence. Create a safe pedestrian walkway across Main Street. Should have been done already.
Yeah, that's.
Can we clarify that?
And I think one of the things that would help would be just to have a policeman stand there for 2 days at the crosswalk at Broad Street or in front of 221 and just slow people down because they'll mow you over. Open up the free lots on the west side of Main. Develop a first 15 minutes for free type thing. I can't read all of these. Ken, can you help me? I don't need to go any further, but those were my concerns. And I love the town. I love the people. You guys are great folks. And I think everybody wants the same thing. We love this place. And I hate to see, I'm a retired minister, I hate to see communities destroy themselves over something like this.
Yes, I agree. Don't do it. Thanks, Jim. I just wanted to say to everyone, we are concerned about the safety crossing, but please voice your concerns to MDOT too. They've had a couple open houses and they are the ones that will implement the lights for crossing.
And I think in the short term, I've talked with Emily about this. She's contacting MDOT at least twice a day. We're asking for boulder paint on the crosswalk. It's very faded. And so MDOT's aware of it. And to try to accentuate the lining, they're going to paint the surface black, as I understand, and then put the white lines over the top to make them more visible and jump out at us more. That process, again, we're continuing to push for it, but I don't think we have a date, or we didn't as of
That's
this morning.
Correct. So we are pushing MDOT aggressively. We are making progress, which is lovely. I'm sure you'll be surprised to know that nothing in government is as quick as we would like, but we are making progress with MDOT. They have committed to improving the crosswalk at Pleasant Street only so far. I am pushing them to do all of the crosswalks. We are also pushing very aggressively for a beacon light, which is the kind of light that can help people with crossing specifically. That I think is going to be a more difficult uphill battle. Michelle is absolutely right. Please share
More
your
people, yeah,
concerns. The more
please
people
tell
who fight that fight, the better. That they have been good partners and they are working towards making some improvements.
Emily, I'm sorry to jump in. Can you just clarify what MDOT is in case people don't understand what that means?
Yes, the Michigan Department of Transportation.
Okay.
Thank you. And they control Main Street.
Okay, let's let our next speaker go.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Denis. I'm an attorney with the Varnum Law Firm in Grand Rapids. I'm here on behalf of business owners. Wow, feel like I'm screaming into the microphone already. Sorry about that. Okay. My name is Scott Denis. I'm an attorney with the Varnum Firm in Grand Rapids, and I represent business owners downtown, particularly west of Main Street. I just have a couple of things to say. It strikes me that as I look across this room and see the seniors, which is not far away from me either, it occurs to me that a regulation like this will take the downtown away from the people that want to come here every day and walk their dog. And then to suggest that simply providing surface parking lot area for free, it changes routines, it changes schedules for people, and it's just not right for the large part of the St. Joe population is elderly, and they're here for a reason. They love the beauty of downtown, and they want to be able to share that every day. So I think you need to make accommodations for the seniors. The other issue that I would say, and please indulge me, I happen to be a duck hunter. And I was thinking about this on my way down from Grand Rapids today. When I train dogs, it's very important that if you have a wounded goose, to not allow your young pup to go confront that wounded goose, because they might get goosed by the goose, and that will ruin the dog. The dog will never go near another goose. Imagine if you're a tourist and you come to St. Joe for the first time, and the welcome from the city of St. Joe is a ticket on your window. You may never get that tourist back. And we need to be very sensitive to how we treat our community and how we treat people outside of the community, because so much of what everyone does is driven by tourism in Southwest Michigan. So the last suggestion that I would make is, instead of making onesie twosie changes to the parking regulations, which you're about to do, I suggest that you suspend these new fees. I have to say, I'm a 30-year lawyer. I've been doing municipal law for 30 years. I don't think I've ever had an applause like that for anything I've said. So thank you, finally. I suggest that you suspend those
Okay,
regulations.
thank you very much. We appreciate it.
And I'm not done.
Oh, it's a 3-minute rule. I'm
I
sorry.
understand. I'm finishing right now.
Okay, go ahead. You came from Grand Rapids, so I'd like to hear what you have
Thank
to
you.
say about our town. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
suggest you suspend the regulations
Go ahead.
and give us an opportunity to work with you to incorporate some of the issues that have been raised and will be raised today, and do this in a thoughtful way rather than kind of this haphazard onesie twosie solution. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Nancy Marinac, and I own Revive Spa over here at 313 Main Street. I moved my business here in 2014, making a down payment on my building and my build out from my husband, Dr. Hudak's life insurance payout. I have been able to support myself comfortably, nice little condo, 10-year-old car. And in the last 21 days, my life has gone from having a decent income with no pay date in sight. I did not pay myself in May. I don't expect to get paid in June. I went from working 24 hours a week with help to 50 hours a week, and at least half of that time I am alone. I had 5 spa consultants. I now have 2. 3 jobs have been lost, and my remaining staff is stressed and scared. I have consistently seen a 30% 10% drop in daily sales, down $1,500 the first 3 business days of June. If this continues, that is $13,000 less than last June. Plus, I lost 8 members that I draft the first of every month. That's $1,200 I didn't see in June, and it's $1,200 I'm not going to see going forward. Just as a note, as little as a 5 to 10% loss in sales can close a business in 90 days or less, and there's already rumors of people planning to close. I had time on my hand. I had time and money on my hands to do lunch and coffee with friends, but now I buy nothing but groceries and gas, and I am concerned about paying that credit card bill. I went from time and money for vacation to canceling a road trip I had planned for my birthday this week. I've lost 8 pounds. I went from having a truly simple but happy life to sleeping 4 hours a night and having a knot in my gut all day and faking happy and calm to my employees and my remaining customers. There is no joy in my life. I have fear and stress. What do I cut next? All essentials have been cut. Is it my life? Is it my medical insurance next?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Becky Kliss. I sent a letter 9 days ago and didn't receive any response. So I followed up with another letter. Emily, thank you for responding. So now I'm here again. I'm here on behalf of my parents' generation. My parents were going to come downtown on for a veterans luncheon at the Buck. They don't know how to pay to park. My dad has a walker. They went to Stevensville instead. So Sunday, I brought my mom down again. I thought I'm going to teach her how to use the meter and use it myself. 1, we had to wait in line. Okay. 2, it wasn't clear how to add time. I figured it out because I'm not afraid to push buttons. My mom, she won't push any buttons if she doesn't understand. It wasn't clear what all day rate was, so there was some confusion with that. I put my credit card in. It said remove card, declined. I put my credit card in again while my mom's going, don't do it because they're probably charging you twice. And it accepted it. So it wasn't my card. The parking attendant was very nice. He said the machines are slow. The paper jams a lot. I sat there. That's what he said. I will say it took the joy out of being downtown shopping. We were worrying about the meter because we only paid for whatever, 2.5 hours. And all of us, my mom walks slow. So when you have to sit there and worry about your time and go, what time is it? What time is it? It takes the joy out of being downtown. I mean, and then you have to go back to the meter, one of the parking lot meters, or you got to pay 30 cents to use an app that my mom will never do. So basically, my mom said she would never come back on her own. So I expect many won't, and they're not going to take the time to write a letter because my parents would not have wrote the letter. I wrote the letter for them. So I hope you take that into consideration because they're the ones that like to come down all the time.
And she's a senior citizen.
Yes, they both are. And they live in New Buffalo, so they're Berrien County residents, but every doctor's appointment they come to, they go downtown.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda Mawini, and I live at 716 Main Street, and I'm here to talk about the employees downtown. I have parking for my home, but I feel very sorry for the people who live on State Street because since this has been adopted, there isn't a parking place within blocks of my home, on the side streets, on State Street, and all those people that live there can't have visitors. Their elderly parents that come to visit them cannot park in front of their home. If you drive down State Street, you'll see those cars are there all day. It's the employees that work downtown, and I think more consideration needs to be given to that fact and provide something for them.
Thank you.
My name is Barb Chartier Radonis. I live at 55210 24th Avenue. I do live in Bangor. However, I work down here 2 days a week. So I'm representing my beliefs or my feelings because I interact with this community. And I'm also here for everybody that couldn't take a break during their workday. So, and I know there's a lot of upsets about what all the issues that come along with the paid parking. But what I want to ask, and I know I'm not going to get the answers right now, but I just want to throw this out here. Sorry, because I was just getting ideas. I'd like to shift the focus to how much did the whole implementation of this plan cost? I'm sure you did a lot of research in order to make that decision, possibly worked lots of years. I'd like to know that information. I'd like to know how much it's cost the city taxpayers with their money to approve this when there doesn't seem to be a lot of approval. And this is not everybody that's representing who's upset about it. I'd like to know what amount of revenue stream did the city project that this would bring in? I'd like to know that dollar amount. And I'd also like to know, and I'm sure you did that before you purchased the equipment. The equipment cost whatever, then how much this is going to bring in for the city. And also, where is the money going to? There was a plan to have all this money be generated for something. What is that amount that was projected, which does not mean it's going to happen? It's an estimate, but I'd like to know what that amount is. And I'd also like to know what alternative forms or ideas did the city come up with to create this money that they're needing, apparently. For me, like even when I go and get my gas, and if there's 3 gas stations on a corner or 2, one of the things that helps me determine where I want to go is who gives better customer service. And the thing that really stands out for me is free air. Free air for my tires, not charging a buck. It's a little thing, but it's the thought. It's them realizing that they'll make up for it in tons of other ways. Not everybody thinks like I do, it doesn't matter, but that's, so for St. Joe to be charging for anybody to pay, I mean, certain parts of having paid parking, I'm not totally familiar with everywhere, but not to the I don't think it should have the extent of paid parking that you're projecting or implemented already. And somebody mentioned, I forgot who it was, about the North Star and driving more vibrancy to downtown, new customers. That's what it means to me. Those are jargon words for, okay, we don't want people sitting here tying up this space, because if we can get 2 more people, we'll get 2 more bucks for each hour. And it's just like new vibrancy just means more money, which to me means greedy. And I think Becky said about it takes the joy out of coming to St. Joe. This isn't Chicago. This is St. Joe. I left Chicago because of all they had people parked in cars waiting for somebody to not put money in that meter. And then that person was out and making a $50 ticket. And that was about 15 years ago. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julie Irgens. I grew up here and then I left for 40 years and then I came back. I live on Walcott near Langley. And when I was a kid, used to ride my bike downtown and throw it on the pavement, sidewalk rather, and then go roller skate in the dime store. The same wooden floor is still there. I don't do that anymore. One thing I notice, I do go to the library a lot and I go to the Krasl. And certainly the beach traffic isn't here yet, but during the day, the whole bluff up by the library and the Krasl, it's empty. And yet I can't park there because I can't afford $2 every time I go to the library. And eventually there are going to be crowds now and then. And there is not enough reduced parking around the library. It's pretty busy. So I'm not using the library anymore. And that's really important to me. And I would like to go downtown more, but I've noticed I certainly don't. I used to kind of think about buying things at the dime store instead of Walmart. I think maybe people do now and then. It's a little more expensive, but I would rather do that, and I don't. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Joe Genola. And I have four different properties downtown. One is at 120 State Street, 403 State Street, 321. And the parking lot, which is at 202. It was 30 years ago when I came into this town, I retired from construction business. And of course, I take old buildings and make them into different uses. And back then, it was a ghost town. We had a lot of opportunities, banks were leaving, things of that nature. And I said, well, I can take a building, change it around, which I did, it was the People's State Bank building. And that was, they had finally left, and I've converted that. At 321, which was the Rhymes and Hildebrandt store, I purchased that. And back in that time, they were trying to do a downtown development authority for trying to revitalize the cities, because the cities were starting to crumble because of malls and shopping centers, stuff of that nature. So Doug Landis and Mike and I, we formed a little group together called 30 Seconds. And we took and renovated the Rhymes and Hildebrandt, put 5 condos in. It was a 2-year project, elevators and stuff of that nature. A lot of the realtors said, you're never going to sell them because there's no parking. I said, well, you can always rent a parking space. So, that is, went to tuition and went well. Recently, I purchased the 403 State Street, which was Jess's property, had a, what do you want to call it? And a game room in there. Escape room, thank you, I lost it. So anyhow, but it had sat really unoccupied for damn near 10 years. And I wasn't able to purchase the old property on the Golden Brown Bakery. So I said, well, I'll try that. And so I've been into that process now for 2 years, and we have different businesses in there. So there is a way to work together. And I took the time. Can you give me another minute?
No, that's not yours. Go
Oh,
ahead.
all
Let
right,
somebody
cool.
else.
I thought I was going to be another Scott. Yeah, thanks. So, I will hurry up. But the long and the short of it is that we have to have a solution. The DDA, for some reason or other, thought this was a great idea, and it's turned out to be a challenge. But in my property taxes, and I pay between those 4 properties in excess of $40,000 a year. And this year alone, it's going to go up another $5,000-$6,000 because I just got the assessments. And I'm thinking in there, and I took the time to go through it, we already pay, as you're a property owner, you already pay approximately 2-3% it is for the DDA. So there's monies going someplace. The other thing, just recently in the Herald Palladium, it showed that we as the city, have a surplus of $60 million. So I'm thinking as a municipality, you can have bonds, and even at 2%, you're going to generate $1,200,000. The parking program is anywhere from income after expenses. I don't know how you're paying back your $40,000, but your budget was like 400 to 800,000. So in 1 year alone, if you were just able to capture 2% of what you already have in your coffers, that is 2 to 3 times the amount of money that you are putting a burden on a lot of people.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. I know this is not this is public comments and it's not a dialogue, it's not a back and forth, but I just, a lot of times things are said and they're not addressed. And I can assure you, Joe, we do not have $60 million rainy day fund. I don't know where you heard that, but I've looked at the budget and I will do that. And I've worked with our finance director, Ben Reynolds. And again, I'm not aware of it, but we'll certainly look into it.
I wish we did. I wish we had a budget of almost $60 million. Yeah, but not surplus.
Hi.
Hi.
Good afternoon. I'm Paula Schlenska-Failer, lived here all my life, actually lived in the same house all my life. Okay, we live on the corner of State and Price, which gets a lot of traffic, okay? I'm also a senior. I know I don't look at the, but I am a senior, and I'm not trying to reiterate all the things that have gone on here today, because I know you've heard them, so I'm not going to go there. This is something that's personal to me, though, is I have a plate and 9 screws in my left ankle. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't work well. My husband and I, Randy, who's in the back there, we love to go down on a Sunday afternoon to sit in the park and enjoy the beautiful view that we have of the lake. We take our bag chairs, they're rocking chairs, they're cool. We read for the whole afternoon. We talk to whoever goes past. We enjoy the community. We enjoy that. It's just good fellowship. And we're not going to pay at a parking meter to do that. But like I said, sometimes I can walk and sometimes I can't. We're in the 800 block. Well, I'm sorry, I should have said 823 State Street. Okay. But like I said, sometimes I can walk, sometimes I can't. It's frustrating. My husband said, well, I don't know. Do I have to go drive you down, drop the chairs off in the books, come back to the house, and then go walk myself? It's ridiculous, but we're not going to pay hour by hour just to be sitting there. And it's a shame, because we do pay a good amount of property tax, and have since my parents since 1947. So we've paid property tax over the years. And when you pay property tax, you feel like you should be able to get something in return from this beautiful community that we have. And so, like I said, I'm not gonna reiterate for everything that has been said here, but that's my own personal issue, that I would like to go downtown. I would like to go downtown for different reasons, but I would like to go downtown just to enjoy the landscape, enjoy the sunsets. There's a lot of people that are older than I am that cannot enjoy the sunsets anymore because they're not going to pay that. They're not going to go to the band concerts. There's another concert tomorrow night that's free, and they're not going to be able to do that. So anyway, I don't want to take any more time, but that's my own personal
Thank
deal.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pat Moody. I live at 2214 South State Street in St. Joe, the old Jefferson School. And we love it. I've lived in this community for 53 years, headed up the chamber for 20 years, been on the radio for many, many years, and most of you know me. I would like for you to take Attorney Dennis's recommendation to heart and to screw up your courage and take action today to suspend all of it. Unless you want to come back every week and revisit, and nickel and dime and okay, we'll change this. Okay, we'll change this. Okay, we'll change that. Sit down with the community, have a public forum. I know you've had them. I know you've had many meetings about this, and but obviously it isn't working to the degree that you thought it was going to. It's pissed off a lot of people, and it's beginning to totally destroy the nature of what this community is and has been for so many, many years. So just, I know it hurts to walk away from the money, and my app is going to bing in just a couple of minutes because I'm parked on the other side. I use the app. I have nothing against it. You can check my track record. I've used it multiple times. So you've gotten money from me. And I know you don't want to lose that cash flow. But would you rather lose the few bucks that you're going to make in the next couple of days, or everything that we've built on this community for hundreds of years? Just screw up your courage, set aside the whole plan for a week or two while you fine tune it and get all of the pieces that people have recommended in place, and then re-implement, reload it, and say, okay, here's how it's going to work going forward. Thanks.
Well, he pretty much stole my all thunder. And when I walk up here, I look at the commission and it's like, oh God, here he comes. But I was walking over here with my relatives and I thought, I got to go and shut up today. And I've listened to all this and it gets to the point I just can't stand it. My quick two things are, one's really nasty. But here's one. Give free parking to people in St. Joe and quit having all these damn meetings. Just end them.
We did.
Free park. People want free parking. Everybody out here wants free parking. Just quit screwing around with all these meetings. Oh, we'll give you two more things here and we'll open this lot up. It isn't working. Just get it over with. We did this with Discornia. By God, we got to slant the roof 2 more degrees for this. Come on. And the second thing is, I watched here's the bad one, and I'm done. Then I'll beat the egg timer. I'll be really proud. I beat it. Here's the other one. You know what? I watched the news, the Ukraine and Russia. Here's the Ukraine right here. And here's Russia.
My name is Richard Hill. I own the business at 217 State Street, Kilwins. My wife and I took that over from my folks. Once they started it, we're in our 28th season. I guess I'm going to ask this board to have some compassion and heartfelt for the employees and business owners of this community because they are hurting. They are hurting financially. I mean, what turns out to be, I understand we have to have money to fix roads, but it is hurting hard-working people's livelihoods. And what might be maybe at the end of the year, you know, that didn't work out, is going to destroy people's lives. You heard the one gal talk about what does she cut next? I mean, there are people who are struggling to pay their mortgage or their rent, to buy their groceries, to pay their medical bills. And I would just say that if you have mercy and compassion for these people, this is their livelihoods. I mean, there are people who invested hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, home equity lines, tapped out all they could to start the business. They took the gamble to start a business, to employ people. We employ over 34 people at our store. And I told them my commitment to them was to try not to cut any hours and to try not to cut anybody, to lay anybody off. And so far, I've been by holding on by my fingernails to be able to do that. Okay. And there's only so much we can do. There's only so deep my personal pockets are in this business. And I would say that by doing this, our customers have spoken, which are the local residents of this community. The customer, if I decided to get rid of everything in my store and have one particular product sell the customer, and the customer says, that's not what I want. But I said, but you're going to have it and that's what you're going to get. They are going to say, fine, I'm not coming anymore. And the folks of this town have spoken. Look at all the empty parking lots. Talk to any business owner. It is real. It is reality for these people. Now, you folks can all go home and plan your vacations and whatever else you got going on, but people's lives potentially can be destroyed here. And so I would almost ask every board member to take a 50% cut in your day jobs from now to the end of the year and then report back. I mean, it's real. It's real. So it's not a game on it's about numbers, but it's about hard-working families and destroying their livelihoods and the investments these business owners have made and for our employees. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Oops. Hi, everyone. Kim Jorgensen Gain. I live on the corner of Elm and Main. Oh boy. I came here to listen today because I'm running for city commission and came here with a great deal of compassion for all of you, It is not us against them. This is no Russia, Ukraine here. No, it's not. Everyone wants what's best for downtown St. Joe. We all want to see us grow. We all want to see us do better. I just got to look for the first time at the plan that the DDA has for improvements to Broad Street. Is anybody tired of driving through sinkholes along Broad Street? There is a goal here. There is an effort here when they're talking about North Star. We all want what's best for this community. That's not true. I have been a small business owner. I do understand. We closed.
She listened
we
to everybody else
closed-
speak. We need to listen to her speak.
We closed a restaurant after 9/11. I get it. But there are comments that come from this podium that are from a great place of privilege, and there are comments that come from this podium from great hardship. Excuse me, can I finish, please? The woman who was talking about her business and doesn't know how she's going to pay her bills, that is genuine hardship. It is genuine hardship to have a small business. It is genuine hardship to live in a seasonal economy. And that's a choice, and it's a tough choice. But we also have seen in recent years things like Moms for Liberty and We the Parents taking over school boards with loud. And so you're not having the conversations that can actually be fruitful and actually help us come to a place where we can solve some problems. We do have some problems that need to be solved. And capturing some income from visitors is a great solution. But we have to find ways to do it so that it isn't as painful for those people with true hardship. I'm sorry if that's funny, but there's.
Just a reminder that we do expect everyone to be respectful of all opinions and all statements made at the podium. Thank you.
Hello, Ben Baker, 3315 South Lakeshore Drive. I'm a resident of Shoreham and St. Joe Township. I work downtown in the office. I have a great respect for everything this board has done. I sit on a township board. I've been involved in statewide committees for the state and for my professional society. I do public engagement for a living as an engineering and architecture firm. So I definitely respect everything you guys have done. We found in the last decade, it is so hard to get public opinions and people to come to meetings. And I know that this has been talked about since 2019 and things like that. I do think that now you have the public's attention, whether or not we had it in the past at the previous meetings. And so I had some suggestions to the motion that was on the table, and maybe I'll mention those right now. Commissioner Ullery, I respect what you said that you don't pay taxes as your renter, although I would argue that you do through your rent. The city has things in place for the park passes right now where renters are able to get free park passes as well as property owners who do not live within the city. My suggestion would be that businesses within the downtown pay rent, and therefore if you're going to implement free parking within the lots, as the motion stands, that the business employees or businesses should get spaces there as well, as their tax dollars are covering the same taxes that the residents of the city are doing. So that is my recommendation to the motion that's currently on the table. Similar to how the residents either of apartments and property owners within the city can get free parking at the passes. That being said, Mr. Moody's talk was inspiring, and I would like to second what he said. I think that you have everyone's attention now, and that I suggest kind of that might be an appropriate approach to take currently. You have the public's attention. There could be some great ways to, garner that public input now. And yeah, that's my comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to head back to work and listen to the rest of this online. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brandon Yentris. I live a few blocks that way. I work a few blocks that way. I prepared a statement because I hate public speaking also. Over the past several weeks, I have reached out multiple times in writing with straightforward, specific questions about key aspects of the downtown paid parking program. For example, what kind of public feedback did the city collect, and how was that input used to shape policy? What alternatives were considered? How will the city measure the impact of this program, and what will happen if it's causing harm? Despite asking clearly and respectfully, I still have not received direct answers to the majority of my questions. Instead, I have been pointed to pages of reports, hours of meeting recordings, and dense planning documents. While these are useful for background information, they are not a substitute for transparency. At one point, I even filed a Freedom of Information Act request to access public records just so I could better understand the feedback that the city received. The response that I got came with a $540 price tag, mainly due to the large volume of public comments. And yet the city has never clearly explained what that feedback was or how it influenced the final plan, which is a serious red flag based on my assumptions about what the public feedback might be based on this meeting. This is the issue that I'd like to raise. When residents ask clear questions about a policy that affects their daily lives, they deserve clear answers, not deflection, not paywalls, and not homework assignments. I'm eager for a real dialogue with city leadership, but accountability has to come first, and that will start with providing direct, accessible, written responses to the community's concerns. I am hoping that this afternoon's conversation is a step in that direction. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Karen Letts, 2606 Old Lake Shore Road. I just want to say that I've been to a lot of city commission meetings where the parking has been discussed. There's been a lot of open meetings, and I appreciate all the work that you've put into it. I am a senior citizen. I've been a senior citizen for a few years, and I just want to say I thought the app was easy. I have other parking apps. I had no problems. So I just want you to hear a voice that that you can know that some people haven't had a problem. I do recognize that there could be problems. I'm sure my parents couldn't do it. So that's an issue, I understand. But as a resident, I appreciate you're looking for ways to raise some more funds for the things that we need in the downtown and vitalize the downtown. And I appreciate the work you're doing, and I support your recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Dave Carlock. Been around St. Joe for many years, not currently a resident, but I'm very interested in the debate. Wanted to share an experience that I had traveling to Park City, Utah recently. And I noticed that Park City reminded me a lot of St. Joe. It's seasonal economy. When I went, there was no skiing because there's no snow. And all the shops kind of felt like St. Joe. The restaurants were slow off season like St. Joe. It felt very much like St. Joe. But one thing I did notice is that they, even at a population of about 8,300, similar to St. Joe, they have a parking garage. And I know this is a big ticket item, but as I'm hearing all the different sides of the debate, I'm hearing how the residents are displaced. I'm hearing how the workers feel that they are having a hardship and not being able to park where they need to park. It seems like we're basically moving this parking zone to there and that parking zone to there. And now the citizens have no place to park. People can't unload their cars. You know, I'm probably going to get a ticket because I'm in the 30-minute parking outside here. So I'm going to have to speak and go. So I guess my question is, it seems that the answer to the real problem, we have to get more parking spaces. And so this is a huge ticket item, but if the fate of the city's businesses and the happiness of the residents and the problems that visiting tourists will face when they're hit with a ticket, if all these things are in jeopardy, maybe it's time to look at really the true long-term cost to the economy, to area happiness, and to tourism squashing, and try to figure out how much would it really cost and where could a parking garage go? Because if Park City can do it, maybe you could study how they got that done and find a way to do it here. One person said off the cuff, why don't they put a 4-level parking garage at the courthouse? That's not going to that's not going to block anyone's view. And it's right there on the corner where there's a light. So it's not going to be perfect, but if you could make all the rest of the parking free, then it really becomes a first come, first serve, and there's overflow so that when you guys have the big overflow of demand, people will go, well, didn't get there early enough, time to go to the parking garage. So good luck.
Thank you. I do want to mention that it has been studied by the parking committee, by parking consultants. And I guess I don't want to go into a bunch of detail right now, but it would be on the backs of the residents to build a parking garage. And all the research shows that it would have to be somewhere over here. And the parking garages are left empty in the towns that have done it. But thank you for bringing it up. We'll look at it again.
Hello, I'm Sandra Podolak. I live at 912 Pleasant Street. Shoes, we go to Shoes all the time with my mom because it's wheelchair accessible out of Whitcomb. She lives at Whitcomb. So we go there all through the year. We're not tourists, we live here. And you all seem to be concerned about a revenue stream. That's what prompted this whole parking fiasco. No, you're all.
No, the very first, I want to clarify this because people keep saying that. It was brought to us from the businesses over the years saying that the traffic going through was not moving. People were parking and going to the beach. And so the main reason we did this was to get traffic to move
Okay,
through.
so-
The revenue is a byproduct.
So
But
the
go ahead, I'm
revenue is
sorry to
not
interrupt.
that important.
It's secondary. It's great if we get it.
Because there are other ways you can raise revenue
Yes.
in the state of, or in the city of St. Joe. I've come from Sarasota, Florida, and they did the same thing you guys did out down here. You know, they had people who would, I don't know where they were going, but they would stay at a bar all day. So they instituted parking, and then later on, they changed that and they put parking garages up everywhere. And those parking garages were self-funded. So there's always the possibility of talking to a city that has successfully been able to navigate that expense and to answer the issues that the retailers have. So my mom has to have aides. We pay aides to come in and help her. One of them has a flip phone. And apparently you're not able to screen with a flip phone. I didn't even know that they made them anymore. She was also scammed at some time, and she refuses to put her plastic in anywhere, saving it only for travel. So the flip phone, where does she go? She parks in the middle of the road, I mean, it's ridiculous. There isn't someone that can help her navigate that. Whitcomb offers 2 hours, but you have to scan something to park free for 2 hours.
Is she a city resident?
No.
Okay.
She lives in St. Joe, but not the city.
Okay.
And I think you guys are playing with fire with this parking. Over here at Pleasant, there's Church and Broad. I live so close. The other day, I was looking out my window and watched the cops. They put up those parking spaces on Church, and people were parking the wrong way. And I walked out there and I caught one lady because I was going somewhere. And I said, if you park there, you're going to get a ticket. She goes, well, it doesn't say any. I said, park there. I don't care. And I took a picture of all the cars that were there that all got tickets. But St. Joe, Illinois was the first one. Oh, and the reason I think you're playing with fire is because people pull off Broad Street onto off Church and onto Broad Street, making a left. Because of the cars that are parked there, they're blindsided. They can't see. So the other day, I'm always looking out that window. I got nothing else to do. I'm retired, got 2 dogs.
All right. I think you're 3 minutes up, but go ahead. Finish
Oh,
up.
well, anyway,
Finish
the
up.
guy making a left, didn't see a truck, red truck. I don't know how, because of the parked cars, barreling down on him. There was like brakes, screaming, yelling. The guy in the red truck ran by very fast. And the other guy chased him in his car, yelling, "You don't have to go so fast. This is the president, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, hope they don't have a gun.
Thank you.
Ann Vandermolen. I live on Lake Lane, and I've lived here most of my life, and I'm a senior citizen. And it sounds like you're thinking of having a particular place, parking lot that's free. And residents, people that work, people out of town, people that work here, other counties, that sounds like that parking lot is not going to be big enough. But the other thing, for me personally, I find it would be hard for me to walk into town. And I would like it if you would have free certificate, something you can use, and so that I can walk free for 3 hours, and everybody else on State Street. If we could walk, if you want cars to move, can't you change it to 2 hours or 3 hours so that we can do something downtown? And that I mean all of State Street. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mike Gillette. I'm born and raised in St. Joe and moved away for about 25 years and came back it's been 8 years ago now. I'm not here on a campaign speech. I'm here to tell it like it is because I'm a straight shooting, no bullshit type guy. So I've lived here my whole life. We have been a thriving community for the 58 years that I've been alive. Now we're trying to tax people again. We're trying to suppress people again. I know many business owners in this town that are struggling, including some big restaurant, some big clothing stores, the Revive lady, and we're not going to make it as it is. If it was up to me and I had a snowplow on my truck, I'd run every damn one of those things over.
Yeah.
It's not worth the money you're going to make. It's not worth the money you're going to make on these $1, $2 and the real issue. What's going to happen in St. Joe? They're not in it for the $1, $2. They're in it for the $25, $40, and $75 tickets that are going to be added on every time you get a parking ticket. That's where they're going to get their revenue from. I know they're about $15,000 a machine. You got 30 machines up. That's $450,000 that we're paying. And their revenue is about $500,000 a year is what they're trying to make. I tell you how you do that. This town, since I've been a teenager, has slowly succumbed to being a quiet little town. You go up the coast to South Haven, Saugatuck, Holland, Grand Haven, they're vibrant. You want to see vibrant? They're vibrant. We've been suppressed because we got rid of the Venetian Festival, which brought in 250,000 people a year that would help these businesses because we're a summer business town. Let's not BS each other. And we're taking it away in the summertime for this stupid $1 or $2 or $3 tax that we're putting on people. I disagree. Get rid of it. Take Mr. Moody's suspension. Don't suspend it. Get rid of the damn thing.
Good afternoon. I'm John Onderico. I live at 200 Vale Court. And I was at last Wednesday's meeting and had the pleasure to talk to Tess after the meeting on 2 separate occasions that evening and told her my thoughts on this whole process. And she solicited more feedback. Well, this past weekend, my wife and I had the need to be in South Haven Saturday morning and Monday afternoon. And I'm here to tell you that town is rocking. Saturday, I can count on one finger the number of empty parking spots in their downtown. One finger. It was vibrant. There were people everywhere. It was magnificent. An hour later, we drove through downtown St. Joe. I needed more than 10 fingers to count the number of open spots on a weekend. I went back on Monday. the same scenario. Downtown is just rocking. Their merchants are having lunch at the expense of our downtown. They are literally a vibrant, rocking community. How are they doing it? They have paid parking down by the beach, but they have free parking in town. They made it work somehow. It's not working here, at least initially. Maybe it can be tweaked. But as the attorney rep mentioned earlier, you're here to look at a motion to suspend temporarily or make changes or an immediate change to satisfy the angry crowd. I would say get some contractor bags, the big black ones, cover every machine, and take the next 30 days to get more meetings like this where you'll get more input than you obviously have gotten over the last year and a half or so that this has been studied. Again, it's not working. The last thing that I would bring up is several people alluded to the problem, the danger of crossing Main Street because you get run down. I know it's not the revenue stream that you're doing this for, supposedly, but if you wanted to make this town a little more livable, viable, and attractive to families, we need to do something about the basic wanton speeding throughout this town. And revenue from speeding tickets would probably far exceed what you're going to generate from parking meters. Out-of-town residents, they may be irritated by a parking ticket, but they will certainly pay more attention to the speed that they're traveling through town, endangering local people. And as everybody here so many people have attested to, this is an older community. That's not good for St. Joe. You need more young families with children. And if it's not a safe environment, they're not going to come here. So.
Thank you.
Steve Scheffler, 805 State Street. Look at this as an opportunity because you've got the people's attention as marketing for St. Joe, because right now the negative marketing for St. Joe is obvious. Look and say, hey, if we suspend this for a year, we've heard the people, please help our St. Joe businesses. Now people feel motivated to go down and actually do something instead of just shop. Secondly, is you get that big publicity there. Next is say the city council has looked and offered additional free parking. How do you offer additional free parking? Go to City Plumbing and say to them, we're going to put you advertising or whatever, you have these welcome signs. Hey, City Plumbing is offering free parking on weekends only behind their store. United, you have the United Bank that offers the free parking there. Instead of having a banner says welcome, say United Credit Union welcomes you with free donated weekend parking. And even like the law firm across the street, I walk downtown, there's certain businesses down here, like the grass field where the YMCA used to be, YWCA. Give them free publicity just to turn that into free parking or even whatever you want. But that increases your capacity without expense. And then it gives St. Joe a news cycle where it's positive. We're looking to attract you, the customer. Thank you.
Kelly Wilson, 533 Upton Drive, and business owner in downtown St. Joe. It's been referred to quite often that this parking strategy has been in the master plan. And upon reading the master plan, it seems to me that we jumped several aspects of it as outlined in the parking strategy. Far as utilizing test periods and pilot programs in designated areas and seeing how they worked before he rolled them out. We just rolled it out. And there's a whole nice paragraph about making sure that we take care of our local residents so that we don't discourage them from patronizing downtown. And here's what I do know from my wonderful years at Whirlpool is it takes 3 times the marketing spend to get a customer back once you lose them. That's what I'm really scared about, is how are we going to get them back? And if the goal in this was to help downtown businesses with the movement of traffic, the plan's failed. It has not worked. And if anything, it's going to make us If anything, it's going to make us more of a seasonal town than we already are. We really enjoy nice traffic through the end of the year. And I know it's more cyclical for businesses maybe than the restaurants, but I'm getting a line of credit to fill the gap from May. I can't do that in June, and I can't kick the can down the road in July and August, or I'm in big trouble. And I can't tell you how much holiday, and if you're downtown and you see pallets in the alley, please help me. But I've got so much holiday hitting my door in 30 days, and I'm scared to death. But I ordered this in January, and if I don't accept it, we won't have a holiday. But I'm really scared to bring it in because I've got to pay for it somehow. And if summer doesn't make it, I'm in big trouble. So we don't have a lot of time. So I appreciate you guys considering what we need to do here. And I love the idea of just suspending this if we can. Thank you.
Neil Vernasco, 1510 Wayne Street, St. Joseph. I want Pat Moody about scrapping the plan. It's a great idea, but not for a couple of weeks, not for a month, not for 2 months, like the other gentleman just said. It needs to be scrapped for at least a year. You need to do your homework this time. The lady that was from Sarasota, how the parking garages. That's what we need is a parking garage. And I'm sure if we talk to other cities, and we got a big city right across the lake here, Chicago, where it's privately funded, a lot of parking garages. The city's not paying for it. The city's not collecting the money. A business is, just like the Indiana Toll Road. Indiana doesn't get that money anymore. A corporation does. It's privately run. It's something to look into. It's something to look into. That's all I'm suggesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Nathaniel Bishop. I work over at Rybells, 518 Broad Street. Unfortunately, I'm going to be reiterating a lot of what people have said before, but I feel it's important to hammer this home. So I got a little statement. I'm here to speak on behalf of everyone that has been negatively impacted by the implementation of paid parking. We're hurting and the pain is real. You will be hearing from many people speaking today. They will be offering ideas and potential solutions to the paid parking problem. I have heard many of the ideas and support most of them. What I want to talk about is what we can do right now, today. I know we can't completely scratch the paid parking. The city has invested lots of dollars. However, you can do something right now. I'm asking you to pause paid parking without a timeline right now. Right now, the path forward is far from clear. Any strategic solutions we enact today may be messy down the road. Pausing gives us time to get the information and ideas we need to make strategic decisions that benefit all of us. It will help us avoid having to rebuild a quickly misguided solution. I know you all feel the pressure to fix this quickly, but pausing is not a sign of hesitation. It's a mark of leadership. Commission, you are the leaders of this city. Thank you.
Renee Janarski, 1417 Stone Creek Court, St. Joe. I also am going to use my notes. I was born and raised here in St. Joe. I haven't stepped foot down here until today since this program was put into place, and I pray I will not get a parking ticket at my church parking lot. I feel badly for all the downtown residents and business owners, first and foremost. I want to make an observation with regards to the safety at Main Street. I have a number of friends who have children who are working down here in the summer. I think you put the cart before the horse, as a number of people have said, setting this chaos into action without extensive, productive public input in advance. If you did, we wouldn't be here now and this wouldn't be happening. Worrying about public safety after the fact, that seems odd that you're now worrying about that. You put this program into place and then thought about the safety crosswalks and lights? A way to pass the buck by telling us to call the MDOT. I know that means Michigan Department of Transportation. But guess what? Those in this room, except that one lady, is passing the buck onto this commission to change this program today.
I'm not a very good speaker. Sorry. My name is Dana Evans. I was not born here. I vacationed here and thought it was a beautiful place to raise a family. I'm from the east side of Michigan, a resort town. I can tell you, if a major manufacturer leaves a city, it's devastating. My father was a teacher, and we had an Air Force base that was threatening to close. They pink slip the teachers every year. Once was a thriving beach town became a non-thriving, unhealthy town, and people don't want to visit. It becomes laden with crime, houses aren't kept up, and you're gonna end up like Benton Harbor. It truly is very sad to see a beach resort thriving town become a ghost town. I've lived that. That's why we left. I've come here because it was a beautiful place to raise a family. You do not have a thriving community. It's slowly dying. You have a lot of seniors, but young people aren't staying. They're leaving. There's nothing here for them to do. If you look at South Haven and Holland, there are things for people, young people, to start a family. Here you do not. You have a lot of seniors. And I don't want to put anyone down, but you have to look at the health of a community. What is there to do? If you're looking for an income stream or something, there's nothing for the community to do. There's nothing. Why do we come here? Why do people come here? There's nothing here. So you need to start looking at how to make this city more viable, people to come to. And doing this paid parking isn't it. You have to look at why, talk to Whirlpool, they can't get young people to stay, they leave. Why are they leaving? Thank you.
Thank you.
Nope.
Hi, I'm Vicki Wade. I live at 2208 Langley. I'm really not sure there's a solution after hearing everybody talk today, short of just eliminating the whole thing completely. But I'm one of the many people that work in one of the businesses across the way in the free parking area. One of the many people that work in that area. And I can tell you that prior to starting this whole thing, it was already at capacity or near capacity throughout the year. So once you implemented this, it's almost impossible to find a spot. I mean, it just is much for us, much less our clients. And there are a lot of people along here that have businesses where they have a turnover of clients throughout the whole day. And it's hurting everybody. But I guess I'm here to represent the east side of town and ask you to please stop sending people to the free parking on the east side because we have no more space. Thank you.
Debbie Johnson, Forest Avenue, St. Joe. I just wanted to say I don't support the motion to whatever changes you're recommending. I couldn't hear that part. But I do support suspending the whole paid parking program. One thing I did go back to look at is that the city taxpayers paid for this large study, a master plan that was done back in 2014, 2016. And there was a survey and a whole master plan that came up. And there were a couple of interesting things that I just wanted and hoped that the commission would keep in mind when they make their final decision, is that it seemed like, like it has been said before, it was to keep the traffic moving and to keep discouraged beachgoers from parking on the bluff. So as part of the study, on page 34, a comment that came up is that the taxpayers wanted to maintain a small town atmosphere in St. Joseph. And on page 51, a statement was made that the parking problem is a seasonal problem that could be tolerated. Page 77 said 18% of the respondents felt that residents should not, or excuse me, 18% felt residents should pay to park. 18%. So I think that the residents have been saying all along that they don't agree with a paid parking program. And 25% of the survey people said that residents should subsidize a parking program through their taxes. So for that reason, and all the reasons that people have been talking about before, I don't agree with the paid parking program, and I'd hope that you would suspend it. And, other comments that came out of that master plan and the survey was that attention could possibly be made to enforcement of parking. And I don't know, I have never heard anything about that. So I'd be interested in getting more information about that. And another comment a person made was about enforcing speed limits. I totally agree with that. And the last comment is about the plan in general is I really don't like all these little tweaks. It's nice to be accommodating, but tweaks are difficult to enforce or to keep on. It's just not a good plan.
Thank you.
In my opinion. Thank you.
I'm Cindy Hagler, 466, 446, 384, and 382 Upton. And for 30 years, we invented and built and ran the Neon Grill. So I know quite a bit, but I'm 73 years old now. And what I see has happened here, I had a backup plan when we knew nothing about the restaurant. And there was a backup plan. We didn't have to use it. You needed to have a backup plan because it has miserably failed. I got to look at my notes here because I'm on foot 3 times a day. I go to the Whitcombs. So I've told you that before. But anyway, I see a lot and these streets are empty. I've never seen them so empty. And places, usually there's no place to park. But anyway, the repercussions are too big here. I do know that you've already bought these things. So I was wondering if and I sent Michelle a picture on the email. There are different meters like the old days that people would not be squawking about. You put coins in, but the newfangled ones, they look the same. They're in front of each parking spot. You use a credit card. Still, you need no ambassador to help you. You need no policeman going around giving tickets when they need to be looking, like they said, at criminals, bums, speeders, and they are here. I'm on foot. I see them. So you get on foot 3 times a day and you see what you see. And of course, at 73, I have a lot of past knowledge. Yeah, I don't know that we should have any meters, but if you did have, these look like the old meters. You look at it, you know where it's at. If you're getting into a wheelchair or whatever, you don't have to go find a meter. That's all ludicrous. Plus, these meters, I think, when I saw them, I mean, I had no idea you were going to pass that type of thing. Those are for parks and beaches where there's a big sign out front that says this is a pay park. Those are not for downtown areas. I know they've tried them, but they failed too. I can't remember the city names, but they have failed. They just have talked you into this sort of thing, but they're too difficult. You can't see them. I seen people the other day in the rain. I had an umbrella and they were standing in line, you know? Was that mine? Oh, that was mine. Oh, good. I can talk more. So anyway, the police need their time. That just seems ludicrous to me for them to be going around giving tickets. And people have no clue. Why am I getting a ticket, you know? And then also, most of what's been talked about doesn't really address, I mean, it's good you could grant us all free parking, but we got to get the shoppers not to be discouraged. They want to come here. You hear good things about St. Joe. Oh, every time I tell somebody I live in St. Joe, oh, I love St. Joe. They're not going to say it now. They just aren't. They're not going to get used to this, fellas. You got to figure it out. Just, I don't know what's your best way to get out of it, though, without losing a whole parcel full of money, you know? And, but like I say, there are other meters that look quaint. They're old hometown looking, but they take a credit card.
Thank you, Cindy.
And not designate parking, like you can't park here, you can't park, that doesn't work.
Okay, we have one more. Oh, sorry. You were hiding back there.
No worries. Hi, everyone. I'm Madison Kosminski. I am the daughter of the owner of the Buck Burgers and Brew, and as well, my mom's a landlord for the Glicks building right next to the Buck. Speaking on behalf of the future of the city. For me, my friends all live on the opposite side of the state, so on the east side of the state, and really enjoy coming over here to St. Joe to enjoy the beach, enjoy the time that they spend here. My friends are no longer coming during the summers. They don't look forward to coming over here and have to look at the inconvenience of paying for parking. And yes, as a 22-year-old, it is inconvenient for me too, whether having an app or trying to figure out how to pay. So I just tell you guys to reevaluate the entire situation with this parking, because for the future, you're driving the future away. I'm looking at where I'm going to be living after this, and I don't want to live in St. Joe if it's inconvenient for me to park downtown and then not be able to go for a run or a walk like I used to do every for this. So just please consider the future of this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Two more.
Hi, I'm Dan with Lake Sweet Treats and Eats at 610 Broad Street. Just some thoughts regarding if you were to suspend it, the parking program, or remove it. But I've always had this thought coming to the meetings throughout the fall and winter. When I first opened up last July 3rd at my location here, somebody got a ticket, and I went to take a look at the windshield just to see, hey, I'm curious as what the fine is. It's only $10. I gladly paid $10 to park here all day, because if you're trying to have turnover with parking spaces, you need to be giving out tickets like you should. I mean, but a $10 ticket is not a deterrent. If it costs $15 to park at Silver Beach, that's $5 cheaper, to get a ticket than to pay for parking there. So, I mean, I think you need to increase the fine, even at $20 that you have right now. That's only $5 more than what it costs to park at Silver Beach. Why not say something high enough that could be a deterrent, where this way, now you have turnover with parking spaces and people are not spending all day parking there because the fine is now high enough to deter that. So that's one suggestion here. And also with just what I've observed, in my storefront, my street is so slow. It literally is a ghost town after 4 or 5 o'clock when all the businesses are closed on my block. I'm the only one open to 11 o'clock at night. And so I've seen parking ambassadors. Just the other day, I took pictures. If you need to see the proof of it, I have pictures. people are walking in pairs. Why do these parking ambassadors need to be walking in pairs? Why don't they split up and so that they could be more accommodating to people around the whole downtown if there's anyone that has questions or how to use the pay boxes or whatnot? I don't understand why you need parking ambassadors if you have enough signage out there. I've never been to a city where I had parking ambassadors come up and tell me that that you need to pay to park or whatnot. You know, the signage that's on my street there it says 3-hour time limit to park. Okay, well, underneath that sign, there's not a sign that says $2 an hour to park. And it's like every other pole that has that. You put up more signs now, but still not enough. The one on Broad Street, right across the street where the pay box is someone pulls into the spot there, all it says is 3-hour parking limit. If you don't see the pay box, you don't know that you don't have any idea that you need to pay. So it's confusing, and I don't know why you need a 3-hour time limit sign because you can't pay for more than 3 hours on a pay box anyway. So why do you need to tell people that's a 3-hour time limit when they can't even pay for more than 3 hours? And to address some concerns here about, I can't pay for as little as 15 minutes. I mean, maybe they're not tech savvy or whatnot. I went to the pay box. I was able to, I didn't pay for it. It was ready to ask me for payment, but if I wanted to, I could pay for 15 minutes, 16 minutes, 17 minutes. It is working, okay? But maybe some people aren't familiar with that, and maybe it's not. But the point is that it's the signage is confusing and whatnot. And one other thing, and right in front of the GM Variety store a couple of days ago, I was walking past them, and some people were complaining, and we chatted a little bit. And the pay box said that it was a printer error, so it did allow you to continue to pay if you needed to pay for parking, but then you have no receipt if in case you got a ticket and needed proof.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Karen Mitchell, and I live at 412 Anchors Way. I've lived there 20 years, and I've lived in the city, in the area for 50 years. For the last 20 years living on Anchors Way, I drive downtown and park downtown at 9 in the morning and just walk around, have a wonderful time, go into the stores, buy something, walk back to my Jeep and go home. And it was like, oh, shoot, I have to pay every time I want to walk around in the morning. And it starts at 9. Well, nobody's at the beach at 9. Not that that's the point. My main point is, I think you should just eliminate paid parking, period, forever and ever and ever. I go downtown at different times during the day. Anchors Way is right there on the Marina Island, so I can scoot downtown anytime, any season. I never have a problem finding a place to park. And the city has just grown. The merchants have people there all summer. It's packed, but there's always parking. Well, there's a whole hell of a lot more now, and the merchants don't like the whole hell of a lot more now. Obviously, you did it for the merchants, and they're all saying, get rid of it. Now, and you said you're not doing it for the revenue. Well, if the revenue isn't important, then get rid of the meters. You're speaking out of both sides of your mouth is what's going on here, and it's upsetting. Listen to the people who live here who say, it's a small town. We love the small town atmosphere, but we want the money, so let's make it a big town parking. They don't go together. They just don't. And seriously, you can go downtown. Last summer, I went downtown in the middle of 4th of July when the street is packed with people. I found a place to park downtown. It's not hard. So I think we got something going here that's beyond the merchants because they don't want what you're doing, and beyond the whole small town atmosphere. Just get rid of the parking.
Liddy Riccioni, 2818 Willa. I just had a thought. Your biggest problem is people overstaying the parking that go to the beach with the 4-foot coolers for 8 to 12 hours and don't move. possibly the few that are abusing the parking, throw a few boots on some cars and they probably won't do it a second time. But anyway.
Thank you.
I don't know whether.
Oh, okay, one more.
Hi, I'm Martin Dixon. I'm at 845 Wisconsin Avenue. And one of the things from hearing all this discussion today, I think you haven't really looked at the root cause of the problem. I believe the root cause of the problem is the word parking. And to alleviate this, if you don't have enough parking places, why don't you create some? You know, here again, you people have talked about parking garages. It would be really simple to put a parking garage along the bluff or down below the bluff. I know since I've lived here since '84, I always heard, oh, you can't do that. You know, it'll disrupt the view, do this, do that. But quite honestly, it'd be a simple thing. Put in a self-parking garage, the overflow could go there and you wouldn't have a parking problem anymore. That's just, you know, to me, I think it's a simple fix, but think about it.
Thank you. Okay, we had a motion.
It was, the motion was to direct the city manager in collaboration with the parking subgroup to develop and administer guidelines, applications, and processes to provide free off-street / lot parking to all City of St. Joseph residents effective immediately.
I was the second on that. Yeah. Do we have any more discussion with commissioners? Okay. Do you have any discussion?
It seems like any action we take today is going to look a lot like trying to put out a 4-alarm fire with a squirt gun. I thought that these motions were well thought out, and I thought that they did address the majority of the concerns that we've been hearing from a combinations of residents, merchants downtown, restaurateurs, people that like to visit. And very much like paid parking, I think the pushback and people's gut feeling is largely different than we anticipated. I can assure you that nobody sitting up here put this in because we wanted to irritate people. Nobody did this because we thought, hey, it's a way to grab more money. It's really about addressing gigantic budget shortfalls that we have going forward. That was part of it. It was about getting rotation in parking, trying to deter beachgoers from filling all of or many of the free all-day parking lots up on the bluff that were really designed for people to go down and patronize restaurants, retailers, any service business downtown. And we were seeing, as time has gone on, and since that original city master plan was created, the amount of people that come through this town has increased probably twofold. I've heard a lot of people talk about a parking garage. I've been in the city of St. Joe for 36 years and in this southwestern Michigan my whole life. So I've heard about it for a long time. And the reality of it is, and I will defer to Emily to correct my numbers if they're wrong, just to put dollars to it so people understand. I think a surface parking space costs $10,000. Five. A elevated parking structure is 40,000 per? 30,000 per space, and underground is 75,000. So I was wrong on those. But when we talk about parking garages, it is something that we probably do need for at least 3 months a year. And there was a suggestion that we could privatize the parking. I can assure you the model doesn't work for 3 months a year, and that's when we need the parking. And the parking garages would sit empty the other 8.5 or 9 months. So the model doesn't work from a privatization standpoint. We all knew paid parking in general was a challenge at St. Joe. That's why no commission has touched it in decades. I give this commission a lot of credit for trying something. Again, I think we misread the tea leaves, if you will. The pushback is much more than what we anticipated. We did have several outreach programs to the community, including business owners and residents, begging for input on how can we work together on a parking program. It was very poorly, multiple meetings were very poorly attended, not faulting anyone for that. Everyone's really busy. And until something becomes really irritating, hits your pocketbook, or really inconvenience you, it's not that important. We clearly now hear you loudly, and I think I'm really struggling. I came really anxious to pass these motions today because I thought they were good measures, good starting measures to make the adjustment. I'm having a really hard time now thinking that this is going to make a difference.
I think we did get a letter from somebody that was representing 38 businesses, and the three things that we are wanting to pass are the things that they requested. I think personally, it's been looked at for 2 years. I think it's worth doing the three things that we're looking at today. That has been the biggest request from everybody is resident-free parking. I think that we do those measures today. I don't think there's anything wrong with coming back and doing more measures. It's not hard to do that. That's why we set it up this way. So I think in the whole parking study says, yeah, somebody said there is enough parking. There actually is enough parking based on the parking study, but it was all over here. So what we're trying to do is redirect parking to other parking spaces, which is working. But anyway, that's, okay. But now that you have residential parking, some of those, if we pass this, a lot of those spaces will move because the residents will park in the free lots.
And where do you want us to park? The condos?
The free lots. The condos
You're a
will have their
resident.
space now. The condos will have their space now because you have a space. But, okay, we have a motion. I don't know, do you want
I
to?
just wanted to confirm real quick. I just confirmed with Director
Okay.
Newbecker.
Wait, we're in the
please.
process of discussion. Just a minute, we have something.
Director Newbecker just confirmed that in the parking lots in the entire downtown area, you can park overnight for free. You can park overnight for free in the downtown, anywhere in the downtown. It is free parking. In the parking lots.
In those overnight parking spots. Okay, there's limited. I actually have a map
Can we
right
stop?
here.
Should we
You
stop
took
it?
away all the open parking on the bluff, which puts.
Okay, thank you. We
Our parking.
we can address that after the meeting because it is addressable. Yeah, it is, but it is.
You're not listening to some people who live here.
Okay. All right, we've given everybody time to give comments. Now it's up to us to determine what we're going to do. I know, withdraw the motion?
No, I believe in the motion.
I
am maintaining my second in this motion. I think that we deserve, I think that we deserve to give this a fair shot with residential.
You're hurting us.
Okay,
I hear you, and I have spoken to a lot of you.
all right, we need to maintain decorum. We've allowed everyone to speak. Now it's,
There
yes,
is one.
that's why,
There is a map.
yes,
There is a map.
okay. No, we're done with.
As a point
I'm
of order.
sorry.
I would ask everybody to please stop.
We're-
The
We see you. We see you. We are asking, we have given everyone time to speak, as we do in every meeting before. As we
Okay.
do with every meeting, we give everyone an opportunity to speak before any vote is taken. We have heard all of that feedback. The commissioners are now deliberating. There are multiple motions on this agenda. There will be additional opportunities if we move forward with those motions to speak again.
We can just suspend the meeting and do nothing. All right, Abby, will you call the vote?
Commissioner Ulrey,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to the next motion, or the next item on the agenda.
Okay, I will take the next item on the agenda. which is the downtown parking program timeframe. This was discussed in the last city commission meeting. The parking subgroup met previously and recommended that going forward, the downtown parking program would not start until the Friday before Memorial Day. The original timeframe was May 15th, and they've recommended that that be delayed about 2 weeks to the Friday before Memorial Day. I am happy to answer any questions the commission has.
This is another recommendation, having been on the subgroup that I stand behind. Parking subgroup will continue to meet, next week. I make a motion to adjust the dates in which the downtown parking program is in effect from the Friday before Memorial Day through September 15th.
I support. Any discussion? Oh, yeah, I gotta. Oh, yeah. Any comment from the public on the motion that we just made? Only.
I don't understand the motion, really. It sounds redundant.
Was the motion from, tell me what the
The
motion was from.
motion is to adjust the dates in the downtown parking program in effect from the Friday before Memorial Day through September 15th each year. So we are adjusting the time frame.
Why would it be September 15th and not Labor Day?
I think future adjustments can still be made in the future, but today this is the specific action to adjust the start time. I think the parking subgroup will continue to meet. Very
Yeah, the
well
end
may
date
be
is-
something additional.
August 15th. Pretty much all the tourists are gone. So you've got, then you're gonna have to talk about another month where the
Oh, yeah, sorry.
local folks say, forget this.
I would love to study that specific date and if that's the direction that we take, but for today, the motion that we have on the table is to adjust it accordingly as I just read.
Can one of you amend the motion?
It's going to be, it's on the list of things to be looked at, Jim, to change in the fall. So it still could be changed.
Debbie Johnson, Forest Avenue, please. I disagree with the motion. The parking is crowded for maybe 7 weekends out of the summer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner comments?
Commissioner comments?
Yeah, I can't see any scenario in which we don't make the adjustment to Labor Day. So I don't really see any reason to put it off at this point. I think Memorial Day to Labor Day was always something that was talked about pretty late in the game. It was moved to May 15th and then September 15th. For reasons Jim just mentioned, even if you have a vibrant tourist season all the way through Labor Day, I don't think any of us can argue that it falls off significantly after Labor Day. For that reason, I would suggest that we amend the motion from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
I support.
I think.
Oh,
I-
sorry. Oh, you have to.
Nope. Let me go ahead and amend my motion to adjust the dates for the downtown parking program in effect from the Friday before Memorial Day to Labor Day.
I support. Ready? Vote?
Commissioner Fernandez,
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Olry.
Yes.
Okay, on to the next agenda item.
Sorry, that's me.
Yes.
In implementing the downtown parking program, sort of on the back end of getting up signage and making the changes that were recommended by the parking subgroup and adopted by the commission. One of the things that folks had raised as concerns was that there wouldn't be enough free parking on the east side of Main Street, all-day parking for employees. And that was a concern that we heard regularly. Am I on the right one?
We're on the time frame. Unless I
We're
have
on the parking
wrong-
map revisions.
Oh, okay. I had the wrong
Right?
one. Sorry. Yep. go ahead.
Okay, sorry. And so, as staff was making changes to the signage, one of the things that we realized was that on east of Main Street, on Ship Street, on Church Street, and on Broad Street, the parking was all-day parking. That parking is not especially close to any businesses, not nearly as close as the parking in the lots and on Main Street. And we thought that it would harm downtown employees to change that from all-day parking that was already being used by employees to 3-hour parking. And so in discussion with the parking subgroup, we left that at all-day parking. We had shared that previously, but we do need to make an update to the resolution to make sure that it's consistent with what was in the resolution. The parking map is in the packet. And so we recommend making that change.
This is the pleasure of the commission. Do you have any comments?
I moved to approve the adjustments to the downtown parking map to keep parking on Port, Church, and Broad Streets east of Main free all-day parking.
Support.
Sorry, Tess, that is a typo. It is Ship, not Port, and that is my mistake. And that is what
I'm
happens
happy to
when
do it
we
again.
Turn it around quickly.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you for catching that. I apologize. So I moved to approve the adjustments to the downtown parking map to keep parking on Ship, Church, and Broad Streets east of Main Street free all-day parking.
Support.
Okay.
I knew that too. I was just reading it off.
Oh,
Discussion. Any discussion?
any discussion from the commissioner? No public comment? Okay.
Question. It's getting so complicated, is it, when you're saying east and west and this parking lot, that parking lot? We that live here don't even know what you're saying, much less people that come to visit. So, I mean, and I think we're not addressing, we're losing our clientele. How do we get them back? How do I get that on the agenda? No,
This is,
businesses.
yeah, this is for where we're going to have the parking. So we have maps for you to look at. We can show you the maps. It's pretty clear when people come in because they're the same. No, that's just for you to look at. But what do I need to do now? Okay, Abby, you can call the roll.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Olry,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Okay, on to the next agenda item.
Okay, the parking subgroup has been reviewing the data that's come in from the first 3 weeks of the downtown parking program, which has been included in the packet. You can see from the data that's provided that parking demand drops off after 6 p.m. There is a chart that sort of displays the transactions by hour as well as the amount of time being paid for at each hour of the day. And so based on that review of the initial data, again, as the parking subgroup said they would do, they wanted to be flexible. And while the hours are currently 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., you can see a steady decline beyond 6 p.m. And so their recommendation is to shorten the length of the program to make it daily from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. rather than 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. The data's there. I'm happy to answer any questions or provide any additional detail if you need it.
Okay.
Is there any discussion with the commissioners? Any questions?
No, but I think that's been the timeframe that I've heard over and over again from the business owners I've met with. Many of them are here today. I've met with several in person, talked with several on the phone, emailed and texted with several. I think 5 p.m. makes sense in that. Somebody said earlier, there's an early dinner crowd, and that same crowd, when they do face waits in the summer, tends to be mobile and gets around to the shops. So I think 5 o'clock makes more sense to me than 6 o'clock. I'd like to make that part of the motion.
Other commissioners, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a fair compromise. I move to revise the times in which parking fees are in effect from 9 a.m. let me start over. I move to revise the times in which parking fees are in effect from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. based on the previously defined dates.
I support. Any public comment? Nope. Abby, call the roll.
Oh, there's.
Sorry.
All over. Yeah.
I actually have a question. Can there be some help, especially for elderly residents, to not do it during the week, but to just do it for just weekends. Do we have any data that says that might be
What?
helpful?
Do what during?
Sorry, suspend paid parking during the week.
We're on hours. We're on the hours from 5 to 9. Is
Right.
that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but
Evening hours?
yes,
Okay.
but I'm asking if this has been looked at all, if it would be a benefit to suspend weekday and keep it for just on the weekends or just Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh,
I think we can, if I may, the parking subgroup has not made a recommendation around that. I think we can pull some additional data and look at that. Parking subgroup meets again on Monday. We have another commission meeting on Monday night. I think the group would be more than happy to review it.
Okay.
I don't know where they would land.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a little bit of clarity to the motion too. It doesn't indicate which parking lots. And as I understood it, it is the surface lots west of Main, not the diagonal parking. Is that correct?
This motion is for all parking.
Yeah, the motion applied to all of the paid parking across the board. No differentiation. Just this is specifically for the motion is specifically for the timing that paid parking will be in effect everywhere.
And I think that simplifies it. So we're not changing between the lots and the angled parking. We can just say 5.
Okay. Thank you.
Can we take a vote?
Yeah.
Okay, Abby, can you call the roll?
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Olry,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley.
Yes. You'll just.
Yeah.
On to the next agenda item. Who's that? You.
Me again. So proposed resolution changes with the motions in mind. Staff went through very much with the support of Attorney Schmidt and made modifications to the resolution and updated the map that is the appendix that goes along with it. I would think that if you want to go forward with this, it will need to be with the modifications discussed today to make sure that we have the end date of Labor Day, as well as the evening end time of 5 p.m. So I would encourage you, if you do want to make a motion to adopt this, that you do so with that language. But this is what is necessary to actually officially make these updates.
I think just to recap, the three big changes are the city residents having a parking pass approved in the lots was one of the actions we took tonight. The modification to the start and stop time of the program itself is another thing that we just voted yes to. And then also the daily time limits. So with all of that in the rear view, I move to adopt the following resolutions to incorporate revisions to the downtown parking program, including the modifications change to the start date as discussed in the prior motion and the stop time of 5 p.m. from the prior motion.
And the end date.
And the end date
Labor
from the
Day.
prior motion.
Hang on just a minute and we'll do that. Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Oh, support.
Any discussion with commissioners? Okay, now what is your question?
I can answer. Yes. Correct. So there are two different zones in the downtown. There's on-street and there's parking lots. And so this would apply to all of the parking lots for city residents. It would be free to city residents in the parking lots.
Everywhere.
No.
Everywhere. The 9 to 5 is
The
everywhere.
5 to 9, the 5 to 9, the 5 to.
9 to
9 to
5.
Oh, 9 to 5 for the, yes.
9
everywhere
a.m.
else,
to 5
sorry.
p.m.
So how do you prove that you're a resident?
You'll need to register and we'll provide that information. It'll be very similar. Yep, it'll be very similar to the registration for the parks passes.
Correct.
Okay, Abby? Yeah, 1 and 2.
Very soon. Very soon.
Commissioner Olry,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Commissioner Binkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla.
Yes.
Okay, so now we will have city manager comments and she will tell you about how these will all be and when they will be enacted.
So thank you. First of all, I do want to echo what Michelle said, which is I know it's maybe not the most thrilled crowd to be here, but it is really nice to have this engagement. I can say very confidently that everyone here is listening. And we appreciate the feedback. I say to staff and to residents all the time, I don't know what I don't know. And I don't know the things that go on in your businesses. I would never pretend to. And that's why feedback is so essential and why I am so grateful for it. And I know that the commissioners are, and I know that the parking subgroup is. It was said earlier, everyone has the best of intentions. And I do think of this as an opportunity to hear feedback, collaborate, and improve. And I'm appreciative of that. Just to clarify, it is now the staff's job to get all of the word out on what just happened here today. So as I was just whispering about, the residents now have free parking in all of the lots in the downtown. So all City of St. Joseph residents can park for free in the lots in the downtown. However, just like with parks, we don't know who's a resident and who isn't unless you register. So that is essential. Give us a little bit of time so that we can, well, we don't have license plates on the taxpayer roll. It would be a lot easier if we did. But we don't have everyone's license plate. So give us a little bit of time. We will get something posted with an application form. We will do everything we can to leverage the information we already have, and we will provide that information quickly. Anyone who lives in the city of St. Joseph. And
No.
yep. And again, I can only do one thing at a time, and I want to move quickly. I assure you, there will be a policy posted shortly with all of the answers to your questions. And if you have additional questions, please contact me, ehackworth@sjcity.com, and I will answer any questions that I can. We need to get a policy out. We will have a form that you can fill out to bring in your information and get approval, just like you would do with the parks permit. We will update our maps. They are all online. We have some brochures and handouts. So we will have all of that updated to reflect the decisions that were made today. And we will do everything in our staff's power to turn that around as quickly as possible. We regularly work with the press as well. And you might notice they've taken interest in this topic. So I'm confident they will get the word out as well. If you don't already, please follow us on Facebook or Instagram. That's another way that we get the information out. And let me just clarify a couple more things. I know there are a lot of questions. We don't usually take questions during commissioner and city manager comment. I will stick around though. Now I've gotten distracted and I forget what I was going to say. It will be effective immediately. So let me say this. It will take us some time to update the signage downtown. We already have quotes for pricing, and we will do all of the things to do it as quickly as we can. We will not be enforcing effective today after 5 p.m. No one will need to pay after 5 p.m. period as of right now. We will be working with the pay stations and the passport folks to change everything. That does take a little time. There will be no enforcement after 5 p.m. We will also do everything that we can to get all of the residents in very, very quickly so that residents can very quickly benefit from this as well. I'm going to leave it to the commission as to whether you want to take comments now or if you want me to hang out afterwards.
Let's hang out after.
I will hang out afterwards. I will answer every question there is. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, afterwards, but there's a chance for, we have commission comments.
Yes.
Oh,
coming
yes.
up.
Yes. Yes. Any commission comments?
Yeah, so this is going to be a tall ask, and many of you are going to say resoundingly no, and I understand that, I accept that. But a lot of what's happened here has happened because of a lot of communication with business owners, building owners, residents. And many of those conversations that I've had in person have been with people that are here today and have spoke today. So I'm asking those people as leaders, and I'm asking all of you, these changes are constructive, and it was agreed upon with the people that I met with, that these are good first steps. And I ask that you give these a chance. Let's see what happens. Understand that we are continuing to listen. We have an open mind about continued evolution of the program, but not everybody got everything they wanted today. I understand that. But I'm asking if you'll please allow the system to work, let the changes to take effect, let us start to get the data and see with our own eyes what's happening downtown. Now, I'm not naive enough to think that we can wave a magic wand today and undo a month of bad press. That's going to take some time. But I'm asking if you allow that time and if you do your part to communicate to people that we are making changes. We understand that the actions taken have pushed people away from St. Joe, and we are taking these actions to try to bring them back. Try to be as patient as possible. We will have a very open ear and pipeline to business owners to see what the reaction is, what the data shows, and what kind of improvement we have, and if further actions are taken. That's my ask.
I think we're definitely interested in doing just that, right? I think a pitfall that has plagued, not just St. Joseph, but a lot of our neighboring communities is the idea of paralysis through analysis. Conditions are never necessarily going to be perfect to do every single thing. I acknowledge that this has not been a perfect plan. We do the best, and we give ourselves the ability to learn fast. Sometimes that involves failing fast and learning what doesn't work so that you can adjust and pivot. Again, I spoke about the North Star of this project earlier. The North Star is to alleviate the congestion during the times that we need it in order to help actually drive more commerce in the downtown and create a more, all of you would hopefully agree with me that, a vibrant downtown, it is the heart of your city. If your downtown dies, your town dies. A city either is growing or it is decaying. And ours, for years, what we have seen is a pattern of decline, both in population, both in the quality of our assets. Our infrastructure is aging. Our physical buildings, the very businesses that these the buildings that these businesses are located in are physically crumbling. It is imperative that we take a proactive approach to our asset management, reinvesting in ourselves. That is the North Star of this process. We are making these adjustments today to help us further hone that in on targeting during the busy seasons, okay? We're moving in the right direction. There will still be more work to do. I look forward to doing it because, as many of you have helped point out, there's a lot of other challenges that our community has, lack of growth, other frustrations that our business owners, have given us about their flexibility to make the changes to promote their businesses, things like the signs. I'm looking forward to getting to some of that work to help them out and find the relief there. But I think we've made progress today, and that's all we can hope to do. And I'll see you all on Monday night.
Before all the business owners leave, there are more openings on the DDA. So we're looking for some additional members. If there are any business owners here that are wanting to.
Yeah.
Okay, on the.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
Tess,
just-
do you have a comment?
I do, if any, so,
Yeah, sorry.
I know that I know everyone's leaving. We're all looking forward, but I think it's important for us also to look backwards a little bit. And I want to acknowledge the work that did go in this thus far. It's been mentioned a couple times that parking has been discussed. I've been in St. Joseph for 10 years. Parking was discussed far before I even came here. So I do want to acknowledge the work that the DDA put in to get us to this point, the parking subgroup. The DDA worked on this project when it was not popular, when it was not in the press, when it was not a hot button issue. And so I think that that's important to recognize that we had a lot of people who put a lot of work into this as far as we got. I'm grateful that we're able to make these adjustments. I'm grateful that so many of you are participating in government. We love seeing you here. I've had the pleasure of.
Okay. Let's hold your tongue.
You're not invisible, okay? I have.
We will discuss things with you after. Right now, Tessa's trying to give a comment. Please give her some courtesy. We're giving you courtesy. We'll talk to you afterwards.
Thank you.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.